Whether or not with meteorologist Joe Bastardi here. I'm not recording this in front of a live guinea pig studio audience. I read this on Mashable. Actually, someone sent it to me. And I want to take issue with some of these points here. Okay, let's see. Point number one, warming climes have doubled the amount of land burned in wildfires in the U.S. over the last 30 years as plants and trees, notably in California, get baked dry. Well, first of all, California is not baking dry. The United States as a whole has less drought than it's ever had. And part of the problem in California is if it rains a lot, that vegetation is naturally going to dry out because during the summer, it's naturally warm and dry in California. So it's because it's actually raining more, or that's contributing to the increase in wildfires. But let's take a look at this. I guess technically, if you go back here 30 years and you see this amount of wildfires here, you say, well, yeah, well, we were down here, we've doubled it over here, right? But if we look at what happened back in the 1930s and 40s, we're way down. And CO2 at this time was well below where it is now. So how can this be occurring here and then this increase here be blamed on CO2? There's a lot of things that are going on that determine all this wildfire activity, and some of it has to do with land management. But the fact is, California is not baking dry. What is going on is it's rained the last 3 winters and springs enough to create a lot of vegetation, and that vegetation, when it dries out, as it has to do in the summertime, will inevitably cause more fires. And we predicted it. Every single year, the last 3 years, Weather Bell has come out in February and March saying, looks like a big wildfire season. And the reason we do that is because we get, if we had dry winters, we wouldn't be saying that the wildfire season would be enhanced. So this year, boy, we got to really look out. Late summer and on into fall is the time when things really dry out. Okay, so let me see, go back here. The second, whoop, I don't want to put that raging weather bull on. The second thing is about Greenland. Home to the second largest ice sheet on Earth, it's melting at rapid rates. Is that so? Well, let's take a look at the history of Greenland according to ice cores. Here's our current hockey stick interval. The last 2 years, we've had a buildup of snow and ice in Greenland. This year, it is a warm year in Greenland. It is melting quite impressively, okay, for the summer season. But it was predicted back in March. And one of the things I try to tell people on my side of the global warming issue is that they got to get off the idea that low solar is instantly going to cause cooler temperatures. It's going to take a while, all right? And you can't publicize 2 years of a lot of snow on Greenland and not expect it to come back and haunt you. So people are really making a big deal about the melting on Greenland. But I want to show you this again. Here's where we are. 1,000 years ago, we were over here. And what's interesting about that is the Peterson Glacier in Alaska is retreating, and it's revealing a forest that's 1,000 years old. So this warmth was just not in Greenland. It was up in the entire Arctic area. As you can see, it's been far warmer than before, so I wouldn't be panicking. Now, there's a statement there that says the Arctic is on fire. Fire, fire. Sounds like Beavis and Butthead. Where is that? That's the last one there. I'll entertain this in just a moment. And summer temperatures are not increasing in the Arctic. Winter temperatures are going up because there's more water vapor in the air, right? And the more water vapor there is in the air, the more where it's cold and dry, clouds can form. And when clouds form, they hold in a little bit more heat. So that's what's going on. It's not warming up at all in the summer season, as you can plainly see here. Now, as far as California well, point number 3 there. Let me go back to point number 3. The past 12 months have been the wettest 12 months. Now, of course, California is baking dry, and yet it's been the wettest 12 months in U.S. history. Okay, well, let's see. Leading to widespread flooding across the nation. For every 1 degree Celsius of warming, the air can hold 7% more water. But why isn't it holding the water? It's not holding the water because the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere are cooling or not warming up. That is opposite the global warming missive. What was supposed to happen was, remember what happened with the permadrought. First, we had the Plains permadrought that was being touted back in 2013. That disappeared. Then they moved to California. That disappeared. The fact is, you cannot state the exact opposite several years before of what actually happens and then claim you are right. And that's exactly what these people are doing. Wet weather, okay, in the temperate regions indicates resistance in the atmosphere to the warming. Do you understand that? If it was just warming up, it'd just be dry and getting progressively warmer all the time. So they don't even know that the extra rainfall is a sign of is the opposite sign of what they're talking about. And that's what's remarkable about a lot of this. There are really some crazy comments being made here. Although there's elements of truth in them, they then take it to something that's stretched way out of proportion. So let's get back over here. Now, this is supposedly the warmest June on record in 130 years or something. And I noticed that there are no temperature scales given here. But let's look at what this looks like in the satellite era, where we really can measure temperatures. Because after all, the way we measured temperatures before the satellite era was not as accurate as it is now, for one. For two, there's reanalysis that's getting rid of cold, okay? Or getting rid of heat, in the 1930s. So we see this going on all the time. So this is based on reanalysis of non-satellite data in the pre-satellite era. Now, if we look in the satellite era, here's what June looked like. And it was warm. It was the second warmest June in the NCEP CFSR. All right, so you can see, but there's cold showing up here. And the warmth that's in here, and in Europe, of course, tilted the scale. So, when you look at it, all it is warm and cold out dueling, and more warm than cold right now. But if we look at what's going on further down the road, we see that there's actually some cooling that's been trying to take place. I got to put the right map up here for you because it's made a mistake over here. I put the wrong graphic on. If we look actually in the month of July here, let me just humor me for a second because I got so many graphics that are available here. Let me see if I can find this. The month of July. Where's July? Well, July actually was turning out cooler than normal in the Arctic regions. I can't find the map. Oh, nope. Still, yes, there it is, right there. See, look, this is July so far. Look at how cold it is in Europe where it was warm, right? See that? I mean, the real warmth was over in France here. But you can see that in the Arctic, here we are in July, they're below normal up there. And finally, okay, let me give the devil their due. Or the devils their due, or whatever. Devils! Take a look at this global temperature here, and then take a look at the Earth at its greenest levels in during the satellite era. So what are you complaining about, right? Life has never been better on the planet than what it is now. As a matter of fact, these times that we're in now are referred to as climate optimums. If you take a look at going back in the past, in history, when we have recorded temperatures, here's where we are now. These are all called climate optimums. Life advances when it's warm, all right? Not when it's cold. Cold kills a lot more than warm. And that is also why we're seeing such things as the personal GDP and life expectancy actually going through the roof over here. Where is that? Let me put that up there for you, right? There's your personal global GDP, and here's life expectancy, both going through the roof. So life has never been better. And some of the hysteria that's going on now, it does not hold up when you dig beneath the surface. And I'm not asking you to believe what I'm saying. I'm asking you to go look for yourself, all right? I'm also asking you to enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you've got.